It's recording again. Let me just, share my screen again.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, all right, thank you. So in between, like, I just got, I was showing you one video, YouTube video, and then I somehow got myself, canceled from there. I just closed the tab. So everything just got over, and then I had to, redo it. So coming back to the what we were talking about, this Hungarian American psychologist, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. So in that book, he was talking about, like, not only the flow, the state of being creative, where you are utterly focused on finding a kind of, innovative solution. So it's not a, he says about longitudinal approach. That is, it is not a short term. It doesn't happen just randomly. It happens with lot of, most of the time it happens with a kind of, recurrent thinking. It's for a longer thinking. That's what longitudinal analysis is all about, when you are just thinking over it over and again, and it happens in your domain. That is because in that domain, that since if you are a techie, so your technology is your domain of expertise. So it's easier for you to just, do creative thinking in that domain, because you are eating and breathing in that domain, right? You are always there. You are always finding new things and happening. So that is always a part of you. Okay. So adding to that domain is easier. You may be having other passions. You can also do that. But your primary domain is where most of the time, your creative thinking comes, in your primary domain, in your primary interest, subject of interest, or your passion, whatever you are just doing it, that's your primary. It's your, like, you are continuously into it, that longitudinal approach, continuously into it. That's why you can do it. Then what he was talking about, that when after he just done a interview with 91 genius, creative genius, he found this, all these people, these genius people, they were not doing it in solitary. So it's not, nobody is, creating something in solitary, like that they're doing independently or autonomously. Nobody knows anything. No, there is an interaction. That's what his systems model is all about. That there is an interaction between the domain, the individual, and the experts. So these three, components continuously interact with each other. So domain, that is your primary interest, okay, it influences you. And you, in that influence, you start, doing it, you start adding novelty to the domain, but it has to go through the experts. And experts like your bosses, or your, supervisors, or your professor, or somebody has to say, yes, this is something meaningful. You have just you have done something great. Like all PhDs are supposed to be adding to that. Like, PhD is a creative point, like where you have to add a new, knowledge to your domain. Then only you can get a degree. Otherwise, you don't get a degree. But most of the people are not doing that much. But that is the essence of it. That what are you giving back to your subject of knowledge? Okay. And that goes through your supervisor, your examiner, who tells you, yes, you can get a degree called, doctoral degree, as earned doctoral degree or not, because they pronounce it. They finally say to you that, yes, this work is adding to the knowledge of, or adding to the domain knowledge that the person is working in. If it is not adding, then they say, no, you may have to rewrite. It's not yet into that. So you have not adding anything new. It's already been said. You have to add something new. So this is how the gatekeepers are going. So that's what Mihai says, that we used to think that creative thinkers are, they just come out of sudden, and, they are, it's nothing happens in vacuum. It happens within the system. And only within the system you can get recognized. Otherwise, your creative, say, idea the product or service, whatever you are creating, it doesn't have a value. So experts sometimes may be the potential users, your audiences, your target audiences. Like you create a product and you want to test it out, whether your users are going to be happy or not, whether this is too futuristic or this is what the audience actually needed or not. So once we do that testing, we understand that no, maybe this product is not, my target audience is looking for. So we do a little bit of changes. We again do the model and launch it to the people or test it out and just take the survey, take the feedback. And this feedback is a immediate, this is like that really helps in creative thinking, because the experts feedback, the feedback says like, no, it is not good or it is good. That validates or that gives you a chance of improving your product or service or your idea, right? So that's how the entire he talks about that this is a system. So that's why it is called systems model of creativity. It is not by one random person with a born with highly genius person talking something and the world is accepting. It never happens like that. It has to be within the system of your domain. It has to be gone through the validation of the expert, and then only you will be regarded as that you have added to the knowledge. And once you have added to the knowledge, it becomes part of that domain. That is like the product becomes launched into the market. So the product becomes it's available in the market for people to try it out, right? So if it is not, then you cannot launch the product, because your audience or your experts have just said no, it's nothing new, it's already there, and we cannot just launch it because it's not going to work. Okay, so this is how the entire systems model of creativity works. Now let's go to the next. It's called various phases of thinking. This is another important person, like how we were talking about Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. This is James Webb-Young. Okay, he talked about 5 stages of or phases of creativity. He says first is like it's on the flow model. What Mihaly was talking about flow. It is like the flow model: immersion, digestion, incubation, illumination, verification. That is, immersion means like flow. Your state of it. You are just absolutely within that, inside. You are just focusing on what am I going to create. What am I just going to just create out of it? What is that I'm going to add to it? Your brain is only thinking about that. I don't know whether you have gone through that phase, but those who are creative thinkers, when you are say if your boss has given a responsibility to do something new, then that's what you are thinking when you are eating, you are thinking when you are sleeping, when you are thinking when you are taking bath, you're thinking when you are walking or driving or riding, whatever it is. It's just continuously you are immersed in that behavior where you are trying to find a new novelty. How do I add that novelty to this particular problem? How do I add novelty to this, our new diversification of product or services? What do I do? So that is how you are always thinking, right? So this is called immersion, or according to James Webb-Young, and it called flow according to Mihaly. Then digestion. Once you are immersed in those kind of thinking, then you have to digest, right? You have to find the ways, like what is that? What information do I need? What information is important? How do I segregate this information or deconstruct that my idea? How do I rebuild it into my idea into a prototype? Then incubation. Incubation is when you are doing the prototyping. Okay, you deconstruct and you reconstruct. That is the incubation. Illumination. That is suddenly that aha moment. Wow, this is a breakthrough moment. Like, yes, I got it. This is the perfect prototype. I think I'm just going to, because even prototyping is experimentation, right? So that is when you come to a point, illumination, that yes, this is going to work. This product is going to work. Sometimes we may think of making another product, and we come and just end up with a different product, right? So this is the illumination point. where you start an incubation with some product, but when you come to the conclusion, you see that the starting product may not be so helpful. Maybe this product is going to be helpful. So this is called elimination. And then verification. Then we go and just ask our bosses and supervisors and professors and all whether this product is going to work or not. So these experts, the gatekeepers, they say yes, this is going to work. This is a fantastic product. It's a very futuristic. Now launch it and just see if it works or not. If it doesn't, then we backtrack it and try to make some modifications to relaunch it, right? So this is the entire. So this James Webb Young, the Mihai, they have a similar ideas, but told or packaged in a different thing. Like that is the same two products, but packaged in a different way. So they look like a different brands. So that's how both of them talked about. So James Webb Young's phases of creativity is creative thinking is one of the most useful skills one can possess. Nearly every problem we face in work and in life can benefit from innovative solutions, lateral thinking, and creative ideas. Anyone can learn to be creative by using these 5 steps. Being creative is not easy, but uncovering our creative genius requires courage and tons of practice. However, the 5-step approach will help demystify the creative process and illuminate the path to more innovative thinking. To explain how this process works, let's work on a short story. So this is what happened is there was a requirement. There was a need of in 1870s. So when we were like doing the publishing house and all those things, then there was a need for a solution to the traditional process of publishing. So what happened is like there was like something called IVS process was developed. So IVS process is you see many of the companies now, there are corporates who are their product is actually helping other companies to excel in creativity, helping other companies to solve creative problems, complex problems, help other companies to come out with creative products and solutions. So there, these companies are actually selling how to make your company as a creative product. Like say we all know about iPhone or Apple, because it was all the creative ideas of the genius. So what happens is not about here. These companies are not just only by. I mean, some of the companies are not fortunate to have people like Steve Jobs, right? Some of the companies are very futuristic. They need creative products and services, but they do not have Steve Jobs on their board. Okay, so what they do, they go to this kind of companies where the people who have been hired are the creative thinkers. So they solve or they provide creative solution to the other companies. So there is a process for it. This process is called IVS process. So IVS process is a systematic approach to problem solving and creativity. It is often used in group settings to generate innovative solutions. So it fosters collaboration and encourages teams to consider diverse viewpoints, systematically work toward innovative and actionable outcomes. So this is what these companies they do. They just what they do. They identify the problem that the other company is the people who have just their client, what the client's problem is. So they identify the problem, clearly defining the issue or challenge that the client needs to be addressed, gathering information, collecting relevant data, insights, perspectives about the problem, generating ideas using brainstorming or other creative techniques to come up with a range of possible solutions, not just one solution, a range, quite a few solutions. Okay, evaluating and refining ideas, analyzing feasibility, strengths, and weaknesses of the ideas and improving upon them. That we call it SWOT. SWOT, we know that strength, weakness, opportunities, and challenges. So they do a SWOT analysis of all these different ranges of ideas. So which one is good? After doing the SWOT analysis, they say, okay, this looks better, this looks maybe not better. So they come to a narrowing down, with so many ranges. So they narrow down. implementing the solution, turning the selected idea into a practical plan of action and executing it. So this is what the client needs. So that's how they're just doing it. So again, what Young says that innovation as new combination of old ideas. So Young says innovation is not nothing new. It is, we are, mixing and matching with old ideas, giving some tweaking around. So it cannot be a complete new. It is impossible, because all of us are going through this in the domain. When we are adding to the domain knowledge, we all have sources of information from the same place, from the same domain, same technology. Okay, we may be cross-disciplinary. We may come from other domains and we just come, we can bring, but there is always source of knowledge, right? So nothing can come to us. It's not God-given. It's not we are blessed by Saraswati and Mata Saraswati is, Goddess Saraswati is giving us something. It's not possible. So all our new ideas are rooted in old, sources, something that other people have done or something that other innovations have done. What we are doing, we are combining many different old ideas into a new, or we are tweaking around one old idea into a new, or we are adding something new, just a little bit of new to make it a new. And what iPhone is doing, it's actually not doing much changes, but every time it comes up with a version change, right? So when you just buy it, you think like, just it's doing okay, it's a new version. But when you just take it and you see that it's not very different, very little different. So that is what is all about, creativity. It's not that you have to, start, you just come with a absolutely new thing. It's impossible. So we gradually progress to a complete new thing. So this is an evolution of the product. Okay, so there's a gradual progression. It cannot be jumping from old to complete new. There is a gradual progression of old to becoming a new. So that's what Baby Young says. Creative thinking is building on existing foundations. Again, he says that whatever is there, we are building, like it's just like a wall. So the first layer of the wall, and then we put brick, and we make, a tall wall. And then when we finish the wall, the foundation is so deep, so low, and we have just progressed in that height. Of recognizing the relationship between concepts. Creativity as the formation of novel connections. So what creativity is, it's about how you are just really looking at the old problem, how you are perceiving a new solution to the old problem, and what novel connections that you have made. So this is Young belief that this process of creative connection always occurred. Always occurred in 5 steps. So these 5 steps are immersion, gathering raw material and information through background research and immersing ourselves in the problem. Okay, so gather the new material. At first we learn. During this stage, we focus on learning specific material directly related to our task, learning general material by becoming fascinated with a wide range of concepts. And this is what IBS do. Then the second is taking information, walking it over, and wrestling with it in the mind. That is our digestion. Like, what is that we are doing? We are digesting the material. Thoroughly walk over the materials in our mind. We are completely just trying to understand the different concepts, the connections between them and all. During this stage, we examine what have we learned by looking at the facts from different angles and experimenting with fitting various ideas together. Third is incubation, putting the problems out of our conscious mind and turning the information over subconscious to do the work. So we step away from the problem and we try to see that what is like, we are no more that consciously into the problem. We just, just step away and look at the problem with new, vision or new perspectives or, from a different angle. Next, we put the problem completely out of our mind and go and do something else that excites us and energizes us, So we find some connection. That is where, Like we do something randomly and just come back and see whether that actually has anything to do with the problem or not. The fourth, illumination, the birth of an idea, the eureka, I have it a phenomenon, the breakthrough or aha moment, all these things. Let your idea return to you at some point, but only after we have stopped thinking about it, our idea will come back to us with a flash of insight and renewed energy. So it's saying that in a state of flow, we are always into the idea. But one point, that is the difference between Mihai and Young. That Mihai said we have to be, creativity happens when we are in a state of flow, that we are continuously thinking, focusedly thinking on that problem and trying to find a possible solution, okay, innovative solution or creative solution. But what Young says, that at some point of time, yes, it is important that we just, we are immersed into the problem, that what Mihai says, because that immersion will give us, understanding, clarity of the concepts. And then we also try to understand that, different problems, we kind of we can connect the dots. So these are important, and that what Mihai says about flow. But third step, he says, Young says that we don't have to be engaged with it. We should disengage ourselves and look at the problem away, not from being inside the problem. We cannot see what the problem is all about. We have to step out and see the problem from a different angle. So here we have to come out at flow state, and we have to see the problem as a as an say external, not as an internal. So flow is an internal, right? You are into it. And here what Young says, that you have to be an external to look into the problem and then do something random, because those random things can give you some spark. And when you go back to the problem, you see the problem from a different perspective. So then you get a real creative ideas. Because when you are looking at the problem from inside, from an insider point of view, you are just putting yourself within the box, okay, inside the box. So insider means inside the box. So you are just finding out all the things that you can do within that limits. But when you just step out of the box, you are looking at that the problem from a different perspective. That time you are not limited by being an insider. You are an outsider. So you have not much, you don't have to be, say, compromising your thinking within that limit. So you can think wide. So that's how the eureka or breakthrough happens. And the fifth is the reality or verification. Like we say, validation, verification. Studying the idea to see if it still looks good or solves a problem. Then shaping the idea to practical usefulness, because idea has no sense until and unless you put it to practicality, right? It cannot be, idea cannot stay, it cannot bring you solution if it is an abstract. It can only bring solution when it is concrete, when it is touch and feel, when it can just give you the just give you the solution that you are needed, or it can provide a solution to your problem or overcome your problem. So that's when the the idea becomes fruitful. Otherwise, the idea has no role. Idea cannot solve a problem. Okay, so it's like unemployment or poverty. Idea cannot solve somebody's hunger. You have to find a possible say solution to solve somebody's hunger. So if hunger is a problem, you cannot say that I have a great idea of solving somebody's a hunger. You have to think that how might this great idea is actually bring food and feed that person. Okay, so idea cannot feed it. You have to find maybe a robo or a food item. You have to create a food item which has all the best of the potency, and that can have a long term of like it can meet the hunger for a long time, so that people can buy that food and maybe eat once, and that will lessen their cost, but at the same time they'll not be hungry. They'll also have a all kind of health benefits. Okay, so this is what the idea becomes a product. Okay, so you are thinking of a food that has all the nutrition, and that remains in the body for a longer time, and that's why you can also save your money, because you're only spending for 1 meal a day. Okay, so it's like poverty is reduced because you are only spending for 1 meal a day, but you are also gaining health, you're also gaining nutrition by buying that food. Okay, so that is what we call it as a reality or verification. Shape and develop your idea based on feedback. So whatever the feedback that the experts, the gatekeepers are giving, you have to, your audience is giving, or your market survey is giving, you have to work on it, because these are all the Bibles, like this is all the verdicts of the people. So you cannot ignore their verdicts, because that's what people want. What they're telling you what they want. So you should be giving them what they want. So for any idea to succeed, we must release it out into the world, submit it to criticism, and adapt it as needed. So if we want to protect ourselves from criticism, and if we think like, no, I don't mind, my ideas is the absolutely foolproof, it doesn't need to be criticized, is the best idea I can ever have, it cannot happen like that. Okay, so you have to put that idea into test. That is, people will come and just criticize you, people will come and just mock you, people will come and troll you, but the feedback that you are getting is going to give you the edge to the best solution. So it's one time Jeff Bezos was asked in an interview series. Okay, so he was that time the Amazon chief. So people said, like, people always criticize Amazon because they are like bad with employment. They just give less say less salary to the outsourcing agents. They exploit the outsourcing agents. They even don't give good salary to their own employees. So there are a lot of criticism against Amazon. They're just kind of taking the supply chain, or say a kind of dominating the other small entrepreneurs and all those things. So Jeff Bezos, in his reply to the interviewer, saying that yes, if there is no criticism, then Amazon could not have become a brand. So either you take risk to risk of criticism, or you don't grow. So there is only two ways: either you take the risk of criticism and grow, or you shut yourself from criticism and you don't need to grow. There is no chance of you to grow if you shut yourself from criticism. So there is no growth for you. So the same thing, it's a very, very profound that he said, like, if you do not open yourself to people's criticism, then Amazon cannot become a brand. It cannot grow. It is growing. It's growing because the criticism is making it powerful. Criticism is giving them checks and balances. Criticism is making them to find new ways of doing it. So if you do not have, if you are just protecting yourself from criticism, you will not have an Amazon as a brand. Okay, so that's how the entire process is. So creative process, in short, it is an idea, a feat of association, and the height of it is a good metaphor. So the essence of the creative process, the 5-step approach to creative problem solving, and creativity as connecting and combining ideas. So creativity is not about new ideas, I mean freshly new ideas, but it is about connecting and combining old ideas. So puzzle, we can do it later. I don't know how much time we have. 7:11. Okay, let's finish it and then we'll go back. When we have time, we'll look into those puzzles and everything. So now the next is the core creative competencies. That is that what are the competencies that creative thinkers should have? So they should have concentration. They should have power of observation. Absolutely. Observation is the most important thing. There are people, you see the children, they're very observing because they're very creative. Okay, they're observing each and every one. Sometimes you feel like they just look into your eye to eye, and you feel like absolutely threatened, right? Intimidated. Like, and I don't, even I see, I live in an apartment, so when I see the small children, not older kids, not maybe even they're that in their primary school, they don't do it, but the early childhood school, that the pre-primary school, the children will look into your eyes as if they're going to scanning you. They're seeing you who you are, and it's so intimidating. And you just feel like, what nonsense. I mean, your parents have not taught you good manners, okay? But it's not actually that. It's about their observation. They're just observing every person, everything, minor details, because that's what the brain is doing. Brain is processing those information, the stimulus they are getting, the processing information, creating creative ideas. Okay, so you need concentration, that is focus. You need power of observation, okay, like how children do it. You need good memory skill, remembering. You need productive thinking, not just uh, going through Insta and whiling away your time or procrastinating. No, that everything that you are just doing, it has to have a purpose. So you need to have a productive thinking. You need to have a rational thinking that is logical, not emotionally driven, but logical, like convergent, divergent, and emotional management. So you should have a logical thinking. Emotional thinking is emotional thinking is okay where empathy, like that is you are being empathetic about other audience. Like design thinking, we say that we need to be putting ourselves in our audience shoe or in our customer shoe. Okay, so that is empathy. That is one kind of emotional engagement. But we cannot take a decision of our emotional highness, like okay, I don't like so and so person, I don't like Amazon, so I'm not going to just open to any kind of Amazon product, or I'm not going to believe any Amazon product. Then it becomes not logical. Okay, I hate Amazon, that doesn't mean that I should stop even taking the good things of Amazon, and kind of reject bad uh, uh, those bad functionalities that Amazon is doing. But I can always speak the good functionalities. Okay, that is a rational, logical person. But when an emotional person, we say, okay, I hate Amazon and I'm not going to look into anything, not even good or bad. It doesn't matter. I'll just move on. I don't want to have anything with Amazon. So that is called emotional thinking. That is you are influenced by your own emotions. You are very subjective. You are not objective. That is, you are not fair. You are just that you are not giving benefit of doubts. You are just absolutely closed yourself. So part of expression and communication is another. Because when you are a creative thinker, you have to express your thinking. You have to express your ideas to get support from the experts, to get validation from the experts, to get, say, as encouragement from the expert. If you cannot express what is your idea about, then the experts will have no clue, because the abstract is inside your mind. You have to give the shape by communication. So if you're not talking it out, not letting it out, like what we see it in, all the startup interviews and all. So when we are not talking it out, when we are not saying it out, the other person cannot read your mind. Other person cannot read you what the product or service it's or what idea you are thinking about, right? So there is no scope for others to know. So focus or concentration, power of observation, memory, productive thinking. How do I make it better? How do I make it, a great? So that is a productive thinking. Okay. Then rational thinking and power of expression and communication are must for all creative thinkers. So, what is the methodology of learning? We have to do this 5 things: learning to learn, learning with joy, learning through games, learning throughout life, and learning through society. So learning to learn, well, that is the lifelong learning we all talking about, right? So learning throughout life or learning to learn. Like, how do I learn? to learn. Most of the times, what happens is when we go to school and colleges, we know that this is what our learning phase is. After that, we stop learning. We say no to learning. I know enough. Don't tell me what should I learn or not. I know enough. I'm now going to only apply. So that is the old, paradigm was there. But there is a paradigm shift now. So traditional approaches, you learn and you now start applying when you are at workplace. You don't learn anything new. But now it is impossible because knowledge is, we are in a knowledge society. If we do not learn, we cannot gain knowledge. We are not in a society where knowledge is not important. Here, everything, it's like all those days, labor was important. We didn't need knowledge, but we needed good health and muscle power and physical strength. Okay, now we do not have such because we have automation. Those are doing the muscle power work. But knowledge work, yes, AI is doing it, but still knowledge work is needed by us, human is needed. So therefore, we have to learn how to learn. We have to be open to a lifelong learning. We cannot say that okay, we are in work, therefore I stop learning. I have learned enough. Now don't ask me to learn again. I'm just only going to work. Okay, it's impossible. There's no kind of clear boundary between learning and working. It goes hand in hand. We learn and we work and we learn. So it's both mutually exclusive. Okay, and they both are influencing. We learn and then we work, and when we are working, we also learn. Learning with joy. Again, learning cannot be a compulsion. Learning cannot be just when it is a forced learning, then it becomes stressful. Okay, when you are learning with joy and happiness, because you want to learn, because you want to do something new, because you want to add something new, you never feel learning is a pressure. Learning is going to be a pleasure. It's not a pleasure. It's a pleasure because you would be looking for more learning. How do I do it? What else I need to know to just get it done? And that is the kind of your inner satisfaction. It is going to give you that inner reward of finding something. So that is the the most important thing, your kind of inner satisfaction. Okay, so internal gratification, that is what you are just going to get. So these are all internal motivation. Then learning through games. So here, most of the time when we are learning through this strong slides and all, then we feel very bored, right? So if we can have this entire subject in a game, like a video game and all, then obviously learning will be fun. Learning will be more quick, fun, and more interesting than me taking you through slides. Okay, it's boring. Though I'm making a lot of sense, but still it is not kind of interesting. But when you learn through the games, it becomes interesting. And learning through society. Because we have to understand all of us are here for some purpose. If we don't have a purpose of life purpose, that is, if we're just thinking like we are born and then we have to manage ourselves, so that's why we are going for work so that we get a salary at the end of the month and feed ourselves, then we do not have any purpose. Then we don't need to learn. Then we don't need to innovate. Then we don't have to be creative. Nothing is needed. Because anyway, your life is a very routine life. You are born and you are born to die. You know one day you are going to die. Till you die, what you have to do is you need some money in your bank to feed yourself and not to fall sick. If you fall sick, you have to go to hospital. So it's going to be expensive. So you need to have some savings. So that is the purpose of life. All these days, all these years, mostly that's how our traditional walk of life has told. Like when you are young, you have to study. When you are a child, you have to study. When you become a young adult, you should work and you should have a family. When you become older, then elderly, then you should retire from your work and take your life as easy. And then you should focus on religion and on spirituality, mind, meditation, and all those things. Because you're preparing yourself to die. So your purpose of life is being born to death. Your purpose of life is how to die, peacefully. That is your purpose of life. But now it has been changed. Your purpose of life is what you want to give back to the society, not to me, not just not just being a good student and then being a good wife, then being a good just say worker, and then being a very religious being so that I don't go to hell, I go to heaven. So that was the purpose of life all this time. But generation has changed. Now purpose of life is what am I going to give back to society that gave me life. We all believe that we have only one chance of human life, right? So what if next birth we are not born as a human? We are born in something else. So this is the birth. We are lucky to have a being born as a human. We have our human intelligence. So what am I leaving behind? After I die, is anybody going to think about me? Can anybody feel that I was there? Or I was just like any other rock and tree. I mean, tree also people remember. Any other rock or something where people don't even remember. I'm like a pebble. Nobody knows me, who I was. So we always, the purpose of life is very important for us to get motivated. When we see that, yes, I wanted to do something, maybe a patent in my name, or maybe a company in my name, or maybe innovation in my name, where people will know, history will know about me, then you feel, maybe not in that great length, but whatever that is your purpose of life, giving back, maybe helping poor people, or helping girls in tech, or helping the disabled people, whatever. Some people will take my name after I die. They would talk about like eulogy, right? They'll talk about, yes, somebody, we miss this person because that person has done a lot. So this is how we find the purpose of life. So last is the understanding the 4 pillars of creativity. So the same thing, learning to learn, learning to do, learning to live together, learning to be. So these are the 4 pillars of creativity. What we do is we first is learning to know, that is knowledge or understanding. Then learning to do, that means we kind of enhance our skills. Learning to be, that is we create values, common values, so that we don't kind of hurt each other. We are on the same page. And learning to live together is like our attitudes, like what attitudes we have, what kind of behavior we are just giving back. So these are the very important thing that we do when we talk about creativity. So because it's a systems model, right? It's not about me alone. It's not about me to be a genius. It's all about working together. So we need people. We are working with people. We are working with experts. We are working with the society, the culture. So we have to have this learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together. So it's very important because ultimately we are all social beings. We are just creating this creative solution for not for me, but for others. Not for me alone, but for others. So that's the most important part of it. Developing curiosity. So this is the curiosity. How do we have curiosity? So curiosity is, engagement. We kind of explore. We want to know. We kind of ask questions, like critical questions, like so what, now what is, why is not this? So we have problems, we have projects, we have scenarios, cases, inquiries, stories, decisions, negotiations, games, plays, stimulations. All these things are going to add to our curiosity. So curiosity is like mysteries. Okay, what is that mystery that I'm going to explore? I'm going to discover what is the mystery. Okay, and then it's about what do I expect? What is the expectation of my curiosity? Okay, Then implausibility, that is, nothing is impossible. We can always make something or other possible. So there is curiosity, means like, you are taking risk, you are adventurous, you are breaking the stereotypes, the barriers. That's what. Then curiosity is also about missing links, finding the missing information. What is the missing puzzle that I need to just bring it, to just join it and to make sense? Curiosity is new ideas. Just going to give new ideas that fit into the puzzle. Okay, so that's the entire thing. It's like a flower petal model, we say. It's for the curiosity. How do we develop curiosity? It depends on the attitude and initiative of the learner. Whether are you having a positive mind? Do you have positive attitude? Do you have learning mode? Do you want to learn more? Are you open to learning? Are you open to thinking beyond boundaries? So these are the very important thing about curiosity. It is the basis of creative learning. Curiosity leads to new methods, new solutions, and new products. Creative individuals retain their childlike curiosity in their field of interest. Childlike curiosity, just like how I say that children are the more curious being. They become are curious. That is, they no more remain curious, because we say too many things. We just control them. Okay, we control them, asking them not to ask questions, because they are stupid if you ask questions, or if you talk too much, it's stupidity. So you just we kind of dominate their curiosity, and we make them not to be curious at all, because we question that, we control them. But if you want to be a creative thinker, you need that childlike curiosity. Then creative thinkers pursue relentlessly for acquisition of knowledge. Like, you just want to, because knowledge is a skill. Knowledge gives you skill. If you do not have knowledge, how can you explore something which is beyond? Okay, so that is why we need skills and knowledge. Curiosity induces a person to more self-learning. That is, you learn on your own. Nobody is telling you do this, do that. Nobody is spoon feeding you. You have to do your homework. Okay, nobody is even monitoring you. Nobody is telling you. Nobody is monitoring you. A surefire plan to develop curiosity. Try to be surprised by something every day. Any damn thing, small thing, be surprised, or try to find out a surprising thing on every day. That makes you, oh my goodness, I didn't know about this one. So the curiosity will let you, because you almost know everything in and out of your office, in and out of your home, right? There is nothing hidden. But when you are curious, you find new things that you never looked into it, or maybe you ignored it. So try to be surprised by something every day. Try to surprise at least one person every day. Now you be surprised, and try to surprise your brother, sister, mother, father, friend, or neighbor, or a classmate, anyone. Write down each day what has surprised you and how you surprised others. Okay, keep a journal, curiosity journal, or creative journal. When something strikes a spark of interest, follow it. So when you are doing all these things, but not everything will be like, interesting, right? Something may be very interesting. You will remember it. So then you start following it. Like, what is this? May I know something more? Can I know how is it happen? Like, it happens, right? It happens when you might have all studied, sciences and everything. But when we watch on YouTube, channel or someone, when somebody is explaining, we see, oh my goodness, this is what it's all about. But we didn't know. This scientific principle we didn't know when we were studying in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Nobody told us. So that's a curiosity, surprise. Okay? And that curiosity gave us connected. Like, okay, this is what it means. So that is the aha or breakthrough moment. So keep a learning journal to develop creativity. So this is a learning journal. You must note it down. So the 5 stages of creative process is, first is the preparation, research, consume, immerse, and gather. Then you have incubation, that is explore, experiment, synthesize. Then you have illumination, that is aha or breakthrough moment or eureka moment. Then you have evaluation, that is reflect, criticize, and assess. Then you have implementation, that is stop waiting and start creating. That is, you are an action taker. You are taking action, work. Okay, so this is the your creativity approach. These 5 stages of creativity, what that James Webb Young taught. So this is the last one. Now let's see 7:33. Okay, let's now do the puzzles. The first puzzle is this one. Let's see what it says. 3 switches outside our windowless room are connected to 3 light bulbs inside the room. There is no window in the room, and there are 3 switches, and 3 switches are connected to 3 light bulbs in that room. How can you determine which switch is connected to which bulb if you may enter the room only once? Now, windowless means this is a dark room. Now, all the lights are off, so you have no idea. You put on a switch and one bulb, illuminates. So how do you remember which switch connects to which bulb? What do you do? Any idea? What do we do? What can we do? So we have to remember that is what the memory talks about, right? We are connecting the dots. Like we
Trial and error.
Sorry?
Trial and error.
Trial and error, but maybe not more than trial and error. What generally people would do is the logical reasoning. Okay, they connect. Like they put on the first switch and they see which bulb. It doesn't, not necessarily the first switch will illuminate the say left bulb or right bulb or middle bulb or anything. They'll remember that. Okay. Now when they put on the second switch, they again remember that which bulb is what the second switch is about. Now third bulb is remembering that they have the only last last switch and a last bulb. So it's very easy to remember. So what we generally do is it's a process of like most of the time, if you see people, we are always in hurry, right? We keep switching on the bulb on and off, and then we get confused which bulb is what, right? But instead of that, we take it slow and we just put on one switch and we see which bulb is getting lighted. We remember that that connection, which switch is connecting to what, and the second switch, then it becomes, then we understand that second and third switch is which bulbs it's going to connect. So that's how we remember. So it's more logically, when you remember things, it's easier than switching on and off, because when you are doing too many times, your brain is cognitively overloaded. So your brain is not registering the stimulus. Your too many stimulus is there. So brain is now confused. That which bulb did I do for the first time? Which bulb did I do for the third time? I saw one bulb was lighting, but which one was that? Which switch was that? So we are in confused state. So trial and error will put you in a more kind of confused state. So instead of that, we have a pattern. That is where the pattern is. Like we have to think about pattern. What pattern? Which one connects to what? And then we get to understand, okay, we touch and feel. This is the first switch. Only our right hand side is going to work. Second switch, this one, maybe the center will work. Third, maybe the left will work. And that's all. We have a very clear vision. So it's all about how we look into it. how we look into the problem, not in hurriedly, but more patiently and calmly. So most of the times when you see the children, when they go around, when they are into some social occasion, okay, most of the time you see they're very observant, and they'll be asking the same question again and again to each of you in this gathering. So if they say it's a ritual going on, okay. So there was Janmashtami. Let's take Janmashtami as a ritual. They'll be asking who is Krishna, okay. So that's a very fundamental question. Why are we celebrating Janmashtami? Who is Krishna? So somebody else will say this is Krishna. So the same question the child will ask not one. The child will not stop there. The child will go to some 4, 5, 6 different people to experiment whether all the answers are the same. If all the answers are same, that means this is a valid answer. If all the answers are different, that means it is an invalid answer. Okay, so the curiosity of children, if you remember, especially children are very curious about their anatomy, right? When they're young, they're very, very curious about anatomy. Why boys look different? Why girls look different? How girls can have babies? Why boys can't have babies? There are a lot of why we are curious, because we are not giving the exact same information to the child. Child is not validated. Child is not getting valid information. Somebody says that a bird dropped your sister. Somebody says your mother went to the hospital and doctor gave the sister. Somebody said, so there are different answers. So child is not settled until and unless the child finds out what is the actual answer. So that is the exploration. Okay, so that is the curiosity. I'm not going to stop. The child is never curious about Janmashtami or Krishna so much as child is curious about a newborn sister, cousin sister or brother or own sibling or anything. Okay, because the answer we get, what we give to the children are not the same. But when we give the answer about Krishna, we all say the same. Krishna is a baby god, and it's like that's the baby blue color god was born on so and so day, and he's so protective. He's Krishna, so this is we call him Gokul, and everyone is going to give the same answer until and unless you come from a different religion. Okay, so the child is validating that. Okay, so that's how the curiosity helps us to explore and discover. So when we get all the answers, there's nothing more to be curious about. There's nothing new to find. But when we don't get the answers, then we are curious, like video games. When we are doing level up, right? What happens? When the games are easy, we are okay. We are not very enthusiastic about the games. The moment we come to a challenge where we are not keeping up the score, when we are just dying, that's the time we become more focused. How do I win? How do I win? How do I win? So challenge actually, gives you a thrust. So curiosity, creativity is all about challenge. If you do not have challenge, you are not going to be creative. So why you are not creative at home? Because there is no challenge. Why you are more creative in the office? Because there is a challenge. Somebody else will come and just take your job. Somebody else will get promoted. Somebody else will get the increment. But in a family, everyone gets their own share. So there is no challenge until unless it's an emergency, right? Otherwise, there is no challenge. So challenge is the first thing that it pushes you to be curious, and then it's a habit. Like where when a creative thinker is always going to start doing things creatively. Okay, why can I do this way? Why can't I do that way? What about me adding to this? So that is how the most of the creative people are all about. They try to solve the same problem again and again and again. That's the law of mutual influence, right? Same problem again and again and again, and then they have a breakthrough of a genius solution. They do not get the genius solution on the first day or the first attempt. They get the genius solution maybe after n number of attempts and n number of hard work. So it's not an easy work, but it's a culture. It's kind of when you do it, you get that internal satisfaction that you have created something, you have discovered something, you have innovated something. That's the best part of that we say eureka moment or aha moment, or just being feeling of joy, happiness, pride, that state of flow. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine to just find out this real problem. So that is the feeling. Okay, now this could be the easy one for guys especially. A man is replacing a wheel on his car. When he accidentally drops the four nuts used to hold the wheel on the car, and they fall into a deep drain, irretrievably lost. A passing girl offers him a solution which enables him to drive home. So, what is that solution? So he loses all the four nuts that keeps the wheel intact with the tire. So he just loses all the four nuts. So when he loses the four nuts, obviously the wheel will come out. He cannot drive. But how can he drive home? It's quite easy.
Maybe he can take the other wheels one nut from the each tire.
Exactly. So then it becomes three. So yeah, each of the wheels will have three. Still, it will just keep that kind of balance of the wheel, and you can drive on, right? So this is like quite a common puzzle. But the thing is, this was not common when somebody invented it, right? Now it is common because we all understand that this happens, or we might have understood it. But think about the some first person who has done it. Okay, when he didn't have to just wait for the service people to just come and just take the or garage people to come and just lift the car to the garage. So we have to think from that. So how it happens, this is the source of information. Now what can we do in better? Now we have a source of information which says like, yes, you can take nuts each from the three wheels, you can take nuts, and all the four wheels have three nuts, and you can go. Now, how can we just be more creative? What do we do? Now, this information is common now. Everybody knows. What about the next level? The level up. How do we think? How do we become a more creative people? What do we do? What can we do? Instead of nuts, can we add something? Or instead of three nuts, can we have two nuts? Or should we just create a wheel which does not need nut at all? So that's the next level of creative thinking. So we don't end it here. Now we find maybe this is the only solution we can have. No, there is no only solution. There is creative thinking is a cyclic approach, like what system theory is all about. It's about cycle. It cannot stop. It's flow. River never stops to flow. It's always flowing. Maybe in the summer water is less, so riverbed becomes dries up. The moment water comes, rain or monsoon comes, the river again starts flowing, right? So same thing is for creativity. Creativity never stops. It's always flowing. So that means this puzzle, it's not the only solution. We can think of some other more improved solution. That is the creativity. Can we think of any more improved solution? What can we do? It's a random. I mean, since we have time, we can just think about some random things. It need not be absolutely validated or justified or anything. It can be crazy. It can be wild. It doesn't matter. Think hard. Let's take 5 minutes and think. Even I'm thinking. you guys find anything important? Anything interesting? All right. Have you got anything interesting? Let's ask ChatGPT. Let's see how AI thinks. Okay. So this is the one. So I asked ChatGPT, I just copied and pasted. I said, this is a common solution. Can you give me some uncommon creative solutions to fix the problem? Okay, let's see what ChatGPT gives us. So what creative uncommon fixes that it gives? Coin substitutes. Use a few large coins like washers, bowls, or bolt caps in a place of nuts to wedge the wheel tight enough for a slow drive home. So you can't obviously drive fast, but bottle caps, washers, or coins, something like that, you can just use it. Rope or wire binding. If you have rope, shoelaces, or electrical wire, you could thread the crisscross, okay, through the bolt holes and tie the wheel firmly against the hub, like how we stitch the buttons, right? Like that it's saying. Clamp with a jack. Lower the car jack just enough so the wheel is pressed tightly into the place by the car's weight, then drive slowly without knots, essentially pinning the wheel in a position. Stone or stick wedges. Jam strong sticks or pieces of wood or stones between the wheels and the hub to stop it from wobbling. Primitive, but could walk short distance, like some stones or something that you can just put. Swap a rear wheel. Remove a rear wheel completely and use its nuts for the front wheel, because front wheel is very important, right? So it gives the support. Then drive home very slowly on three wheels, the rear axle scrapping but manageable if it's close by. It's like limping home. Borrow nuts temporarily, knock on nearby doors to ask at a shop or garage for nuts from any scrap metal lying around. Many nuts and bolts have compatible threading. Like many things, they have a similar thing, right? Even if it is not nut, but even you see that holders, AC holders and all have a similar kind of, that fixation. So improvised adhesive and resin fix. If tar, tree sap, chewing gum or glue is available, use it to stick the wheel onto the hub temporarily. Not very secure, but enough for a short crawl home. Tie the wheel inside the car. Put the replacement wheel in the back seat or boot and drive home slowly with the car running on the spare jack. Carefully moving only on a short distance or even without one wheel if the suspension allows. So flip the car to three wheels, extreme cases. Remove the opposite wheel on the other side diagonally so that the car rests balanced on three wheels like a racing tire. Okay. Then the drive slowly home on three wheels. Like it has to be balanced, otherwise it cannot. Hitchhike. Use the spare wheel elsewhere. Instead of mounting on the spare where he lost the nuts, he could remove a whole other wheel with its nuts and put the spare three, essentially swapping positions and leaving one corner without a heel at all and crawling home carefully. This is like what we have spoken, the 10th one, what we have spoken. Okay, so there are many different ways, right? So when we ask ChatGPT, we see, oh, this could be an idea. This is something like which becomes very easy because it's just a do a faster thinking, but not necessarily these are only thoughts. Again, because it's an artificial intelligence, it's not human intelligence. So our human intelligence possibility is much more, much wide and better. Okay, so we can think even more. So we get a little bit of idea like there is not the only one solution. There are different solutions, and how innovative solution you can. By looking through these solutions, you don't have to copy and paste the solutions, but you can tweak around these solutions. What else can I do? What can I substitute with? What component can I substitute with? What else we can do it like that. So it's mostly happens when you are stuck, when you are in emergency, and when there is no kind of help at close by. India, it becomes easy because things are all, we can give a call, and the garage people will come and just do it and all, everything. It's like everything easy. So we never use our creative thinking because India is, everything is handy, right? So things are much easier living in India than elsewhere. I remember when we were in Australia, when I had a small child, we were just living. We used to go every Sunday. We used to go out for a long drive. Okay, so once what happened is like our key was inside, and the car got locked. We came out because when it's a little baby, has a lot of things, right? When we're just coming out from the car, me and husband, and my husband left the key inside, and the car got locked. So we had no idea how to unlock the car. And when we called one of our friends, they said it's very expensive. In some 20 years back, they were asking for $60 to come and open the car because their tradespeople are very expensive, right? People are all handymen. Everyone has some or other tools to do their work. They don't engage, the tradespeople because that's like a very few people are there, and they are very expensive. They're one of the highest paid, professions, like. So tradespeople, what they do, they will come, and they'll come with a van, and they'll open the car for you. And most of the time, these are in cities, and we are always in outskirts, right? It's far away. So coming and going, it takes a lot of effort, and they also have to spend money on the fuel and all. So it's an expensive deal. $60 is very expensive. So expensive. So, but we had no other idea. We had no other option. Obviously, we can't break open the car because the thing is, if we break open, then we have a little child, and the sheriff will stop us. Will not go home safely. They will not allow the car to be on the road if we break open and the doors are not closing and we have a child inside. It's like absolutely no to do. So we had to wait for these people to come. You know what they did? We thought like they'll come and they have some sophisticated things and all, and they'll open the car. Nothing. They came with a van. It's a multi-purpose van. They came after a long time. I think after 2 hours of wait, they done it. Good that we had our food and everything out, and it's a beautiful place. So you can just kind of picnic any place. There is nothing like you can't do here. You can't sit here. You can't. The only thing, you can't make it dirty. So you have to carry your own trash and put it in a dustbin. Dustbin is all over. So there is no kind of restriction where you can sit and eat food with anything. It's just open. So we had a good time. At least there was no rain and the sun and everything, and we waited for 2 hours. These people came in a very it's like a multi-purpose van. They came and they used a wire to open the to unlock it. Just a wire. They didn't have any sophisticated things. And they charged us, $70 because $10 more because it was more interior. That time we didn't have a GPS, I guess, that time. I don't remember we had GPS or not. Or maybe we had GPS. Okay, I forgot it. So they said like it was, longer than the distance they have traveled. So they, charged us $70. Okay. But the thing is, what they used, it was not any sophisticated thing. It's just the only one that wire that they used, and they opened the lock and just it was a matter of few seconds. They came, they opened the lock, and they just got the money, and then they left. Okay, so that's how the entire, because there we are forced to become creative, because when it costs us money. India, we do not force to become creative because it doesn't cost us anything. And when we can, bargain with even these people, somebody will say 200, somebody 500, and somebody will say 100, and will employ 100. Somebody who is asking 100 will ask them to come and just do the work, right? So that's the entire thing. Like, creativity is need anywhere, any emergency. It's not that you only have to have a profession and then only you can become creative. It can be any place, any situation, anything. All right. So that's all about today's class. We have 2 more minutes to go. So if you have anything, any thing you want to know, you can ask me, or we can leave the class. Just a moment. Let me see you guys who are out there. Ashita is there. Apurva is there. Okay. All right. So any question, anything that you felt? So it's a very, I think you guys have joined quite late. I don't remember you joined initially the first half. I was talking about systems model of creativity, which is by Mihai. And then I was also talking about, James Webb Young's phases of creativity. This is the first class where we are touching on theoretical and conceptual part of creativity. And it's a very important theory, systems model of creativity. So please, go through the recorded lecture because it talks a lot. I explained a lot. I'm sure you were not there. I don't remember, you were just there at that time. So please go through the, lecture. Okay, and that's all. So we have our regular class on Sunday. This is the class that we missed it last Sunday. So if you have any question, you can ask me, or you can, otherwise you can leave the class.
Sure, ma'am. No questions for now.
All right, Apurv. And the quiz is closing, Apurv and Varshita. Quiz is closing on 24th this Sunday. I think there are some 20 questions, and each question has only 1/4 mark. So 20 questions only for 5 marks. But as I said, the quiz questions are for you to just do a little bit of knowing. It gives you a quick learning tips. Quiz actually makes you more learning than actually get marks. It's all about learning than scoring. So take the quiz in one attempt, but it is it's quite. We have only studied 3 topics. The quiz is all about. So take the quiz, and there are 20 questions, and there's no time limit, but it has to be finished in one attempt. And the deadline is on 24th of October. Sorry, 24th of August, Sunday, coming Sunday, 11:59.
Okay.
All right. So take care. Have a good evening, and see you in the next class.
Thank you,
Yeah,
ma'am.
thank you, ma'am.
Too.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah.